So one of the best ways to get more views on your videos is by doing smart YouTube keyword research. By doing this, you can come up with powerful video ideas and get your videos to ultimately rank in search so you can get views 24/7, 365. So in this video, I'm joined by Rob from vidIQ, and we're going to be going through three quick tips to help you get started with keyword research with some free tools, as well as diving into some of the advanced tools and ways to get even more keyword research insights using vidIQ. So buckle your seatbelt because this is the Coffee with Cannell show, and it's coming up right now.
3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Welcome to the Coffee with Cannell show. My name is Sean Cannell, and I'm super fired up for today's episode with Rob Wilson from vidIQ, who is a YouTube creator himself, who is a keyword research expert and is really has a lot of powerful insights in helping us understand how to use these strategies to grow our YouTube channels. During the first part of Coffee with Cannell, if you're new to the show, we have about a 30-minute training for you. And then during the second part, we welcome guests onto the show, and we're actually going to be diving into your topics, your channels, and doing some keyword research for you. And there's going to be a lot to learn during the entire thing. So if you haven't smashed the like button, give us a like. Let me know where you're watching from. And Rob, welcome to Coffee with Cannell. How's it going?
Hey, Sean. It's going excellently. Thank you very much for inviting me onto another one of your shows. And I've decided that from now on, whenever I'm on Think Media content, I'm going to call your community the Think Mediarites. I think I established that last time I was on. Are you okay with that? The Think Mediarites?
Absolutely. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Bruce Willis Armageddon. Like we have, like myself, the Think Media team, and our friends like you are just coming with that fire to destroy planets. Okay. Well, before we use the Infinity Stones wrong, I think we should dive right into the content today. And I'm super fired up because you've got, before we get into some deeper dive tools with vidIQ, there's some basics for getting started in keyword research. But here's the big question for you. Is keyword research still relevant? Because some people are kind of feels like they're throwing out the baby with the bathwater when it comes to search-based content, SEO, keyword research. What's your hot take on that?
So I think my short answer would be yes, keyword research is still very important, but more and more caveats are being added to that question as time goes by. I think ultimately for any creator, understanding what I call your keyword universe or the common tongue of your video topic is crucial for generating video ideas, and then also understanding how to title your content in a very basic fashion, what's on the thumbnail, what's in the description, video tags, yes, but also more and more importantly, what you're actually saying in your videos and what's appearing on screen. And there's some really exciting things that YouTube have been really teasing as people search and interact with YouTube when they're trying to find answers to questions.
And if someone's new to the term keyword research, what are we talking about? Like, what is a keyword and what is the goal of keyword research?
So if I was to give you a basic example of this, it might be something along the lines of Apple, the tech company, being a very basic keyword, but what sits underneath that keyword? And you've got iPad, you've got iMac, you've got iPhone. What sits underneath that? You've got maybe the iPhone Pro 12 camera or the iPad iOS 15 updates. These keyword phrases can get longer and longer and longer and more specific. And I think as creators starting out on their YouTube journeys, they often find their niche or their little corner of their YouTube universe by really becoming the expert or the authority on something really specific within a keyword research area.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we get the term long tail keywords, because to rank on YouTube for Apple besides the fact that could be an apple we eat or apple the company, it's a little vague. It's not super specific. It's going to be highly competitive. But if we were to make a video called best telephoto lens for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, it's a pretty specific thing. It's actually something
$50.
Under $50. Yeah. And I just, because there are some cheap ones on Amazon. I just was checking out this brand called Sandmark on a recent trip for my iPhone 12 Max, and I was doing that exact search. So let's dive into a couple quick tips. If we just want to keep it super simple, get started right now, what are some tips for getting started with keyword research?
Yeah, so before we look at any vidIQ tools, I think the most powerful tool to get you started with understanding what people are searching for on YouTube is the YouTube search bar. And what it's going to do as soon as you start to type in any letters, it's going to try and predict what you're searching for as a viewer. And obviously, as you're a viewer and you're adding more and more data to YouTube in terms of what you watch and your preferences, then those search terms are going to become more and more aligned to what you're interested in and as a viewer. And as you're doing this research, you want to try and get into the mind of a viewer themselves and what they're searching for. So I guess, Sean, we could probably just use that example that we were talking about, which is Apple. Maybe we'll go down to iPhone as a starting point. And even when I just type in iPhone, if I can spell it right, I'm not looking at my keyboard, there we go. We're getting all of the model numbers, and at the very top here is iPhone 13. Now, iPhone 13, as far as I'm aware, isn't even out yet. So I'm guessing already, as somebody who may be interested in this tech, are we thinking about the release date? Are we thinking about rumors? Are we thinking about the price? If I just type that in, we're already seeing, launch date, release date, unboxing, the colors, rumors. Let's go for rumors, and we'll see what's added to the keywords there. Like, there's a rumor that there might be a fingerprint on the fingerprint scanner, maybe. Also, Touch ID. Is it going to run at finally 120 hertz? So just by typing in 3, I guess, essential keywords to create a keyword phrase, we have 15 potential ideas of what we might want to create content on as a YouTube creator.
That's super powerful. And my understanding is that those predictions are in order of most popular, which doesn't surprise me. That iPhone 13 is probably one of the hottest things right now. People are looking for the leaks and the rumors. So it's when you type in iPhone, if you go all the way back, you're sort of seeing in sequence that iPhone 13 is most popular. Then people want to see content related to Pro Max. 11 is still interesting. And of course, we're going to dive in deeper towards in this video later to actually see some search volume and get more granular data. But at least from a quick hot take level of what maybe should I talk about next, I can just start with the YouTube search bar.
Yeah, and if you want to take that a little bit further, I like to play a very simple game with this search bar, which is the alphabet walkthrough. We'll use, again, iPhone 13 as the keyword, but all I'm going to do at this point is simply go through the alphabet, a single character. So we type in A, and look at all of these suggestions here: Apple trailer, Apple event. We've also got the always on display. That might be interesting as something to look at as a small channel focusing on a very particular aspect of the tool. But let's try B, and you have all of these suggestions: battery, bronze. Does that mean there's going to be a bronze colored version of the iPhone 13? That's interesting. Battery test, all of these suggestions as well. And I could go from A to Z, and you have dozens of suggestions coming up. So again, really good idea generator, and creating very simple keywords that you can start to write down as a, building up your keyword universe, that common tongue that I was talking about in the topic of the iPhone 13.
Super powerful. So far we've covered that. Definitely use the YouTube search bar, and let me know in the comments, do you use the YouTube search bar and use that auto predict feature? Has that been helpful? Have any of those ideas helped you create a video idea that's done well? Secondly, do the alphabet walkthrough. What a cool tip. Take your topic and go through A, B, C, and you're looking for, remembering, this is YouTube giving you insight and data into what real people are searching. You don't want to just make videos necessarily in a fishbowl where you're just with your own ideas. Your question is, what do people want to see? What are people interested in? The creator that understands the viewer best wins. And this helps us do topic research, keyword research to do that. But Rob, is there any other tips in regards to maybe even getting more insights using the YouTube search bar?
Yeah, you can turn that alphabet walkthrough into simple questions. And again, YouTube search is now sophisticated enough to comprehend what you're typing out, even if it doesn't make complete sense. So if I say iPhone 13 when, now we're getting to this, the nuts and bolts of really answering these iPhone 13 questions. When's it coming out? When's the release date? When's it going to launch in a particular country? We could simply change that to how, and then we've got more useful tips, tricks, and tutorial videos that you could be making or thinking about, in a run up to the launch. How many cameras is it going to have? How much is it going to cost? How do I charge it? Because we're still not sure whether the iPhone 13 is going to have a charging cable. And another one could be why. Maybe not that one. Let's try. What was it? When? So we did when, and we'll do where. Where's it coming out? It's going to vary depending on the keyword phrase that you're looking at, but the how, the what, the where, and the why. There's always going to be questions that need to be answered by YouTube content, and you could be there to provide it.
Man, that's some super valuable tips right there. Think media community, that deserves you got to just press record. And I think if you want to smash the like button, we'd appreciate it. But those are some free tools that you can use, and you can get started immediately coming up with some great ideas. But in just a second, we're going to be getting into a little bit enhanced tools using vidIQ. And this video is brought to you by vidIQ. And right now you can check out some details in the description down below in order to get a free trial of one of the paid plans, because there's a free version of vidIQ, highly recommended. And you're going to see some of the tools and things you could see there. But when you really go deep, this is a suite of tools that'll help you make better data-driven decisions and come up with the next best video to make. And so, Rob, I'm super excited to get into this. And so how can we now go even deeper with keyword research using vidIQ?
Yeah, so Sean, I've done a couple of searches here on YouTube to just tease out some more data that's going to be available for different search terms. And I'm going to start off with a phrase that now probably everybody is familiar with. Nobody knew what YouTube Shorts were a year ago, and now today there are, according to YouTube, 15 billion daily YouTube Shorts views, which I still can't quite comprehend, but it's a massively growing aspect of the YouTube platform. And so maybe as a creator, I know, Sean, you've done some videos on YouTube Shorts, and I certainly have. If we were doing a search here, how could we really drill down into the particular topics that people are interested in? In the bottom right-hand corner, we see here the keyword score from vidIQ. This is a barometer. This is just giving you a general idea of how many people are searching for a particular keyword, and also the perceived competition from other creators. And you'll get this score quite often in terms of a lot of search volume, but also a lot of competition, because there's many creators creating content and different search topics get saturated very, very quickly. So how do we maybe drill down into this a little bit more? One of the tools that we have here on vidIQ is called Enable Inline Keywords. And what this is basically going to do is open up the hood of a car and reveal the keywords that creators have used to optimize their content. And I'll use one of our videos as an example. We've tried to really get to the bottom of what people will be searching for in terms of YouTube Shorts. It might be how to make them. Might be when are they coming out? How do you make thumbnails, and so on and so forth. And we can click on any of these keywords to launch what's called the Keyword Inspector. And as we were talking about earlier with the keyword score, it's going to show you all of the related keywords for this topic that I've chosen, which is YouTube Shorts. And we can see again that most of the scores here are pretty competitive. But as I scroll down, I think I found one here potentially, Sean. This looks like a keyword of interest here with a score of 72 out of 100, which essentially means that there's probably a bit of keyword search volume there, and there's not as much competition as confirmed here. And I think we know this because people have been looking forward to YouTube Shorts being monetized for about 6 months now. And finally, very recently, YouTube Shorts have now become monetizable and people are getting their first paychecks after all of that hard work that they've been putting in the last 2 or 3 months. So
yeah, I was going to say, I love that. You went inline keywords and then drilled down, clicking on a keyword, took us inside of vidIQ, and it also, our intuition, at least my intuition, yours as well, lines up with that insight of we teach ASQ, answer specific questions, and specific is a really key word. It's not just answer questions. People want to know generally about YouTube Shorts, but now you discovered YouTube Shorts monetization. So making a video specifically around that topic, and that is, of course, there's the Shorts fund now, but even where does monetization come from Shorts? Because it may not be monetized in the Shorts feed, but if it's watched on desktop. And so then now we have the insight, and I'm just hoping to summarize this for everyone in the Think Media community. This process that Rob just took us through, now we have the insight of what smart video to make next by just kind of following the breadcrumbs of this tool.
Yeah, I think a really important word you used there, Sean, was intuition. And I think that starts to build up as you learn more about your keyword universe and you get familiar with the terms that are being used and you're watching other people's content. And then you start to develop that instinct as to, I know now a little bit about YouTube Shorts, but I know that the question being asked all of the time is, how do I monetize my content? And so we've done a search for YouTube Shorts monetization here, and there's quite a sea change in that keyword score now. The volume is high, but crucially, the competition is relatively low. And that suggests to me that there's an opportunity here for me as a creator to maybe create content which is going to start to rank highly on YouTube. And we've proved that here. We're ranking quite highly for videos about YouTube Shorts monetization. Over on the right-hand side as well, we've got some interesting analytics in terms of data. The ones that I'm looking at here in particular are the average age. And this suggests that content for this search term is being recycled on a frequent basis. And that means that a lot of creators are creating content on this topic, but also there's opportunities to rank highly and not be in that situation where you're maybe making a video about how to tie a tie or how to change a tire. Those evergreen topics which are well established, and it's so hard to establish yourself because there's well-established competition. But with something here that's quite fluid and there's new stories coming out about monetization all of the time, maybe that gives me an opportunity to create content frequently and is very up to date there. And also the top creator. On this occasion, it's vidIQ. So I would be thinking again as a content creator, if this is the channel that's ranking highly on a consistent basis for this keyword, I want to see what they're up to. I want to look at their titles, their thumbnails, even watch their content to find out why YouTube considers this particular creator an authority on the subject.
Brilliant insights and super helpful for using a suite of tools that show up once we start digging into our search term. But I love one of the things you said is you got to understand your keyword universe. And so let me ask you, what niche or what topic are you in? Drop that in the comments. I see the gaming mom here. Super good to see you. She's one of our VRA students, but she's doing really cool videos, of course, on gaming and some breakdowns and tips or some reviews of upcoming games. Knowing your keyword universe, I'll tell you ours at Think Media on our main channel. It's the best tips and tools for creators. And so we talk about a lot of cameras, right? And so we know that our keyword universe is like best camera for YouTube. We also know, and even today on what we call Content Camp, we were talking about the Canon M50 still having a ton of search volume and talking about making videos about Canon M50 accessories and some other ideas and maybe some updated photography tips for the Canon M50 Mark II. So your keyword universe now is understanding the spider web of ideas that orbit your core topic and your niche. And so we've got automotive entertainment in the house here. We've got inspiration and motivation. This is great. Budget, worship leaders, really clear niche, cool channel name, helping small churches lead better worship on a budget. Thank you so much for being here on the Coffee with Cannell show. We've got the capable wife, gardening, cooking, and decorating, cars, car reviews. And so understanding you're having a clear niche, having a clear topic, but understanding your keyword universe is super powerful. And I love that term. It helps us kind of want to drill down. And we can do that one of the ways is with vidIQ. So what's one of the next tools and how can we go even deeper with vidIQ?
Yeah, this is the last tool I want to show you on the search page for now. We've been looking here about YouTube Shorts monetization, and it looks as if there's opportunity here, but you've also got to consider your place on YouTube and the size of your channel. And when I scroll down the list here, we have this tool that tells you the channel size. So I'm seeing channels of tens of thousands of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, 50,000 subscribers. Maybe me as a channel is under 1,000 subscribers. Perhaps even though there is an opportunity here, it may be difficult to rank. So on top of the keyword in terms of its volume, you may be wanting to look at which channels are competing and their size. And another question that's been asked in the YouTube Shorts universe is whether or not you can create custom thumbnails. YouTube, in their infinite wisdom, have decided that YouTube Shorts will not have custom thumbnails for the time being. But it's an interesting question, and is that going to change in the future? And so this would be another aspect of your keyword universe. And what I'm finding here, outside of the video that we created, I'm seeing channels of a relatively small size that are ranking for this, very niche topic within YouTube Shorts. I'm fascinated by this channel with 100 subscribers that had a video with over 1,000 views. That to me suggests that there is an opportunity here for smaller creators to break through. And that's when you go really deep into your topic. Another example of this might be, I've seen many channels in the Fortnite universe who solely make content about how to improve the gaming performance, frames per second. So it might be like how to get more FPS on Fortnite 2021. And there's channels that have got 1,000 subscribers, but they're getting tens of thousands of views because they're focusing on a very specific need for that community.
Yeah, I love that. And so that tip is, once you have vidIQ installed, you can see those little blue numbers next to the channel name. So it's pretty small on screen, but that just gives you at a snapshot as you scroll on the homepage to see the channel subscriber size. And if you are seeing videos that rank, that have low subscribers, or are also getting disproportionately more views than their subscribers, one of those top examples Rob pointed to had about 129 subscribers, but the video got 1,000, it's at 1,200 views, and the channel only has 10% of that. That what you're saying is that's an opportunity, because it's showing that I don't have to have huge influence, a ton of momentum yet. If I make the right video based off coming up with the right topics from the keyword research that you're breaking down for us here, ooh, sweet, now I can actually get in on some action. And of course, the question we all have as YouTube creators is not necessarily how do I grow from 100,000 subscribers and beyond? It's how do I get discovered when nobody knows me yet? And let me know if you can relate to that. How do I grow from zero? How do I get my first 100 subscribers, my first 500 subscribers? And so really lean in on this tip, because before you even make a video, you're predetermining, should I attack this topic? Should this be something, and what are the opportunities for me to grow when I have a small channel? And so that tip is super powerful. Thank you for that one, Rob. What are we looking at next?
Yeah, I remember when Clubhouse was first released at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and there was so many people who wanted to know how to use Clubhouse, how to get invites. And there was these small channels on YouTube that were making single videos and they were getting tons of views, but then they didn't double down. They didn't almost turn the channels into Clubhouse education channels. And it was such an opportunity at the time, but 6 months later, Clubhouse is almost yesterday's news in some sense. But yeah, I want to now look at the second stage of keyword research. And this might be when you've actually finished making your video and you want to start to optimize it for YouTube search. I made a video here about the YouTube algorithm. is something that we're always very interested in here at vidIQ. And so the title I've decided here is Cheat Code Updated. That's kind of my hook. How to further beat the YouTube algorithm in 2021. So including the year and all of these ideas of the hacks, the cheats, or the shortcuts to understanding the YouTube algorithm a little bit more. And once you start to type in any information in your title and your description, then in the video tag section, which is much further down the list, you will start to see that vidIQ is going to automatically recommend keywords associated with your metadata. Now, there is that big question right now about whether video tags are important. My advice is always, if there is a box that YouTube's providing to you, fill it. But with vidIQ's tools, you can do that very, very quickly. So already we've got tons of recommendations here thanks to the tags. And so all I need to do on the recommended tag section here is just click. And as you can see, it's now starting to add all of these tags very quickly. If I wanted to do the warp speed version of this, then you would go to YouTube search, type in what you want to rank for, and then on one of these top ranked videos, enable inline keyword search. This is one of my favorite tools at vidIQ. I just copy the tags from another video and then go back to mine, and we can paste all of those tags in. Now, it is important at this point to actually look at these tags and try to understand your video is probably a little different to what's ranking on YouTube. So you want to delete some of the tags that aren't necessarily relevant to you. That might be the channel name, for example, or maybe your video isn't necessarily about the algorithm for a small YouTuber. It might be for well-established YouTubers. So you delete and add as appropriate. And then the final thing is, once you've maybe established a collection of keywords and you want to use them on a regular basis, you can set up a tag template. So if I click this button, we can choose a collection of tags that we've already set up for a theme or a topic. And then we've got the YouTube algorithm one here. I would just insert the tags and boom, everything's all there, ready to go, and I can save it. So yeah, again, going back to the question of, are tags important? I think their value is diminishing. However, when you start to understand all of these tags and make sure they're in your videos, you have that, I think, marginal gain against channels that are not using tags whatsoever. And I think that can be more valuable as a small creator. And again, it's just adding to your keyword universe, Sean. It's allowing you to understand the common tongue of your topic, and it gives you fantastic video ideas going forward as well.
Man, I love that. Super, super powerful. And if you've been getting value out of this stream, hit the like button. And also, this stream's brought to you by vidIQ, and it's a tool we've been using at Think Media since Think Media was just me in a bedroom shooting some videos. I guess I'm still kind of in a bedroom, a home office right now. And I've been using vidIQ since it started, basically. And I started with the free version, so make sure you get that installed. Rob's been showing you the vidIQ Vision Google Chrome plugin. So you don't just download vidIQ, you get that plugin installed, and now you're getting keyword scores and all those details. But if you want to take advantage of a trial on the Boost plan, which is what we use here at Think Media all the time, there's a web-based app that we use. We do competitor research, trend research, a lot of things we're not even going to get into today. Check a link out in the description down below, and make sure to get signed up for vidIQ. Rob, one of the things that I actually love, before we get into the next tool, and then we're going to welcome on Ed in just a second and do some keyword research with some people in our community, is the fact that, in my opinion, yes, YouTube has mentioned tags carry less weight or almost no weight. However, I think it's all about order. What I've learned is that by understanding your niche, by understanding your keyword universe, and by doing research of keyword phrases, which become your tags, it shapes your content.
Yeah. And
therefore, then your content is crafted in such a way that it's been reverse engineered, which is like the first step in our system, our 7-step system, that now when you put the video out, And when the video ranks, and for example, that's someone asked, do I need to see the little blue numbers of vidIQ telling us where our video ranks for a particular tag? Well, those little blue numbers, in my opinion, it's not that the tags influence ranking as much as we think. It's that they're evidence that we did our topic research well, that we did what you're showing us well, and then that the information we gained, because maybe we were going to do a video on YouTube Shorts, as we talked about earlier, but we weren't going to focus on monetization. But now that has influenced our entire content creation process. So now we're leaning in heavy in terms of the title and description, which carries more weight. YouTube Shorts monetization, 7 things you need to know. And now we put the video out and it ranks for multiple tags. It ranks for multiple keyword phrases. And we say, all right, that's a complete mission. We've completed the whole cycle. And so it's not as much that the magical combination of tags did it, but it is, this is the unlock in my opinion, that our keyword research ahead of time and topic research ahead of time. And to your point, in fact, stick around because we have a bonus tip. He's breaking down 5 tools, but where we're going to talk about the future of keyword research, so the future of YouTube. The words you're saying in your video, all those details are being influenced by what you're showing us right now. And so anyways, it's funny because there's so much polarization where some people are throwing out the baby with the bathwater, I think, to their loss by just saying, I'm going to ignore tags completely, if you will, which I'm going to ignore keyword research. I think that is, that's a flawed path to take. And hey, more opportunity for everybody watching this video to actually lean in. It's just having the right approach. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more with that. I think if you are doing the research beforehand, you're planning, etc., etc., the act of actually filling in that box of tags should take no more than 60 seconds because it's already instinctively all there. You know what your video is about because it's been shaped by the keyword research. It's just a case of typing in the tags or pasting them in, however you want to look at it. And yeah, I think you're right in the sense that now I think the tag box almost indicates how well it was optimized as opposed to that contributed to the optimization to begin with.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. We got more tools. And so let's jump into the next one.
Yeah. The one thing that I did want to just mention as well, Sean, as you were talking about the Chrome extension, is we do actually have a mobile version of the keyword research as well. So you don't just have to do it on a desktop. We have an app if you wanted to download that as well. Now, the question of what's going to happen with YouTube SEO keyword research in the future. I'm now starting to frame a concept of content engine optimization, which isn't just about what you write in the description, what you write in tags and titles or thumbnails. It's actually the content of a video themselves. And I've started to discover this new data that YouTube is unearthing to viewers as they search. I think it's in its very early stages in terms of showing viewers, YouTube searchers, what they're interested in. But I've done a very specific search here to show you that YouTube is now definitely listening or at least reading the captions of your content. For example, we've done a search here for you've just started your YouTube channel. All right, it's not a search that you would do every single day, but consider where this might be in 2 or 3 years' time. YouTube is picking up what I'm actually saying in the video. We've thought this to be true for a number of years, but we've always wondered if it was maybe the first 30 seconds, the first minute. But as you can see on screen, there are 3 results here where YouTube is specifically picking up what I'm saying in the captions at 34 seconds, 2 minutes in, 10 minutes into a video. YouTube has dug that deep into a video to try and work out what I'm searching for and give us a result. So it's very clear that what you say in your videos can start to influence how your content is found. This, though, is what blew my mind when I was just doing some random searches a couple of weeks ago. This one here, Sean, it's a video about YouTube SEO, but I think I do say something along the lines of if you were starting a YouTube channel, Sorry, not saying. I actually wrote this in the on the video. And so, can you see what it says on screen now? Text detected in video. What on earth does that actually mean? Well, if I click on that link, it should take me to the exact place in the video. What it's telling me is that this text here, you just started your YouTube channel, is matching up to the search I put into YouTube. And I find that incredible that YouTube is starting to do that. I tried to do some tests on this where I hold up a piece of paper which has a phrase and then search on YouTube, but it hasn't given me any results just yet. So I think this is just the very beginning of YouTube testing out, not only looking at your titles, thumbnails, tags, whatnot, but also looking at images in your videos and, you know, the text on screen. And I think we've heard before that, you know, when Mr. Beast has a video and he's going maybe he's buying some food from Walmart, YouTube is able to identify the different foods that are appearing, and because people are searching for maybe an apple or a peach, because Mr. Beast gets so many views, his videos are strangely appearing in those search results. But as I say, I'm just doing some initial testing right now. I don't know when this is going to start to develop more, but I think as we go forward, I think keyword research is always going to be important, but including that keyword research actually in what you're recording on screen, I think is going to get even more important.
That was some serious bomb drops right there. And the term you're kind of coining is not search engine optimization, it's content engine optimization.
Yeah, it doesn't abbreviate it very well because it's YouTube CEO. So I may have to
CEO. You're like, is it Susan? You're like,
yeah.
Yeah, and I love that because I mean, we're seeing some of the same things, and it's that Google is scanning for here's the takeaways: the B-roll in the video, the visuals. Do the visuals reinforce the promise of the title? Do your words say phrases that people might be interested in? And some of the things we've been tapping into, probably beyond what we can even cover today, but timestamps, chapters, and how you title your chapters, that can start ranking in Google, because Google wants to serve up the best answer for a specific inquiry for the end user. And so by optimizing your content in terms of scripting, how you're setting things up, what you're saying in your video, what you're showing in your video, on the back end of understanding your keyword universe, understanding your niche, understanding the end user, is incredibly powerful. I know we've thrown a lot of technical speak at you, and I'm excited to even cover some of this stuff just continually in depth, because obviously this is a big topic, and that's the mission here at Think Media, is to help you crush it on YouTube and really figure some of these things out. So if you've been getting value, hit like. We're going to welcome Ed on in just a second, and a couple other guests, and we're actually going to now dive into some keyword research and their specific niches for their specific channels. But huge shout out to Rob from vidIQ joining us today. If you haven't gotten your 30-day free trial of vidIQ, what are you thinking? vidIQ.com/think, link in the description down below as well, where you can check that out, and highly, more than highly recommend it. It's a tool that we use consistently here at Think Media. In the future, we're going to be doing more episodes on Coffee with Cannell, because we use vidIQ for trending. We use vidIQ for some new tools that are actually coming out soon, that we've got our hands on, the beta versions that have been just an absolute game changer, as well as we also like spying on our competitors. And there's a cool way that we do that with vidIQ as well. But Rob, are you ready to go? And we're going to dive into some channels of some of our VRA students. Awesome. So Ed, welcome to the show, Coffee with Cannell. Go ahead and unmute your mic. And then Rob, if you want to pull up the channel, and this is helpful, if you can put your channel name at your channel name for anybody else that's coming on in the queue, that way it could be easy. We'll get a second here to pull up the channel so we can maybe get a look at it, a vibe on the channel. But Ed, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your channel is all about, and maybe some of the upcoming video ideas you have, so we can do some keyword research with you.
Awesome. Yo, what's up? So good to be with you guys, VRA fam. I am Ed Oyama. I produce electronic kind of dance hip hoppy stuff at Oyama's Music. Very new channel, just a month old. What did I say? Helping beginning beat makers break through. on a budget.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's what I'm about. And yeah, I just recently started live streaming. So that's kind of like the first few up here. And you can kind of tell when I started doing VRA because the thumbnails got a lot more specific. So yeah, before that, I was just posting music to see if it could get some traction.
I love it. And, initially I think about helping beginning beat makers is a really clear niche. One of our VRA students, Matthew, creates, he does NPC videos, and he's been a nurse last couple of years, recently went full time, if you know Matthew. But Rob, dive in. Let's do a little brainstorming. And Ed, if you, maybe Rob, what are some of your initial thoughts?
Yes, I'm just trying. Music is a really tricky topic because I think, and Sean, you were talking about this during one of our channel audits. In that there's either musicians who want to entertain, or there are musicians who want to educate, and I think we really need to establish that as quickly as possible. So Ed, I'm guessing you're falling into the former camp of being an educator in how to make beat music. Would that be correct?
That is correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, and is there a particular type of beat music? Because now I need to learn your keyword universe, your common tongue.
Right. So I got the Pro vidIQ. I have it kind of running in the back over here. But some of the things that I'm going after would be like Ableton beginner tutorials. So there's an app called Ableton. I can type that in the chat.
Oh, yeah. I can see it on your
yeah, that's a powerful one. I know Ableton is, I think, one of the main versions of the software is $500. And, I kind of always think about what's the business model. But if you think about ranking for a new version of Ableton, and I think sometimes software could be 10% or more. But I think even on Amazon, I was looking up because we had my friend Miguel had a channel where he was helping people. It was years ago. So there's multiple new Ableton Ableton Push 2. I'm actually looking at Amazon product. Okay, so that's a physical product, right? And that's interesting. But okay, let's. What do you got, Rob? Are you looking some stuff up?
Yeah, so I'm just I just picked one of the search results, and I'm seeing straight away here. This is an exciting one for me. Channel with less than 300 subscribers, a video with 30,000 views. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you do a Kendrick Lamar beats video, but it'd be interesting to know why this video found so much traction. And is it through the keywords? Was Kendrick Lamar a particularly popular artist at the time? Or is it something revolutionary that they showed as a tutorial within that video? And if anything's changed, because it's 4 years old and it's still ranking very highly, can I perhaps create an updated video on that particular topic? I haven't even looked at the inline keywords yet, so this is a good example of a type of keyword universe that's being used by these creators. So as I start to understand a little bit more about this Ableton keyword, that's what I'm initially discovering.
Yeah, and I'm looking here at how do I just share my entire, am I sharing the right window here? Why? Oh, that's the not right window. Here we go. All right. So if I look at this, I think deep dive tutorials, this makes me think, I mean, right now we're using just auto predict. We found on Think Media that like high value, rich content, and the trouble is tutorial could be so exhaustive, but maybe it's like the first few steps to get started. But the nice thing about software is there's always a new version coming out. And so 11, 10, Ableton versus FL Studio, that could be a good one for our versus strategy. But if we come over to our vidIQ keyword inspector here, this is how I might jump into the keyword universe of Ableton in general. And how we use it a lot is I might go search volume and just look for where like what's the size of the topic. Ableton Live 11, interesting and very low, so even we could dig a little deeper into researching that. And certainly tutorial here. Sometimes I think about combinations. We can make like how to make EDM dash, you're stacking two things, Ableton Live 11, and they're both in the sort of the same universe. And if that was the style of music, you could maybe show. I'm going to show you a couple beginner tips for and a tutorial of how to use Ableton Live 11 and get started with that. And then what's interesting is understanding your keyword universe. Again, I actually, Amazon works similarly to YouTube with the auto predict. So if you're trying to understand the mindset of, in this particular case, the mindset of the end user, Ableton push controllers are interesting. Do you happen to have one of those, Ed, or no?
I don't have that one, but I have another one. I actually have it in the back right here. It's called a launch key. It's like back on the fridge. Let me grab it.
A launch key.
So this is the launch key Mini Mark III, and I picked that up recently. It's a great piece of gear.
Yep. And so that also becomes, launch key Mini Mark III over here.
Yes.
And same idea, Ableton setup. And so, sometimes I also think it's this using some of Rob's tips, with the top ranked videos, 2,000 subs, not super big, and 5 minutes long. Success leaves clues. So maybe a quick introduction, smart use of chapters on this video here, top down shot of the launch key, and then basically just getting straight into it. So is any of that, Ed, have you got any ideas so far? Has this been helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Because I've got like a lot of niche little ideas, a little bit of light trend surfing, like some new software came out that attaches to Ableton, basically. I'm doing like a versus thing tonight on that, but wow, like that success leaves clues. What a gem. Searching the Amazon launch key autofills.
Yeah,
and I was just looking in the background, and I think I found the perfect channel for you to follow in this area, because we saw that Ableton Live 11 was quite a opportunity-rich keyword, and so I found this channel. This particular video, 4,000 views, 300 subscribers, 3 months old. But when you click into his channel, click the wrong one there. If we just go there and then look at the videos. Every single video he makes, he's punching above his weight. He's getting thousands of views on each of these videos. And so I think there's a good example there of the style of thumbnail. He's branded himself really well. And anything where he's talking about Ableton, I'm not saying that you should necessarily copy the videos, but this is an example of a creator who's really finding their little corner of YouTube and starting to grow out with this piece of software.
Yeah, Rob, that's a brilliant insight. And I think also when you start seeing a niche like that, sometimes you observe a niche. Fortnite, vidIQ channel covers gaming a lot, and Fortnite's crazy. Minecraft's crazy competitive. You take something like that, and it's nice to identify a potential niche and kind of a sub niche. It doesn't mean your channel needs to become Ableton, but it might mean that there's 50 to 100 to 250 videos you could go deep on, and there might only be 1, 2, 3 creators in the space. And you especially could think in some sub niches like that if you're in like the top 10 creating consistent quality content, there's a ton of abundance to be had there in regards to serving different topics related to that. And there's such a long tail of best plugins, this plugin versus that plugin for Ableton, and drilling down in some of those things. And so that was a really good insight. So, and for everybody watching, who are some of the creators in your space you could learn from, not copy, but that you could study which videos are doing well. And the key term there Rob used was punching above their weight class. What that reveals to us is that small channels can jump into that proven and even profitable niche and get a lot of traction, because it's not as much David going against the Goliath of established Fortnite creators, but jumping into something specific like Ableton, the launch key, and the 100 to 200 to 300 plus videos that are related probably just to launch key and Ableton. as well as, I don't know the difference between Ableton Live versus the other versions, ancillary third-party plugins. I mean, I think it's important to have that kind of vision and realize that if you stay creating consistent content, you've got almost unlimited videos you could make, and you pump those out on a regular basis. And the last thought I was thinking there as well was this idea of when you do what that channel that Rob discovered is doing, and you've got that consistent looking thumbnail and that consistent topic, that's the best way to create a snowball effect on your channel, because people will fall into the rabbit hole of Ableton and do a bingeable session because you're clear on what you're teaching. So basically, someone watches the one thing, wow, that was really good, I resonate with that person. Oh, I also want to know, how do I set up the synth thing? And that gets recommended next. So by building out, and you're in the early stages of your channel, by building out 50, 75, 150 Ableton videos, there's going to be the 10 to 20% that probably just crush, and they start suggesting each other, and you'll be reaping the rewards. That's the Video Rake It Academy philosophy. It's the understanding the power of YouTube, that we make videos today strategically that are going to get views for weeks, months, and years to come. Circular video virality, they suggest themselves to themselves. And once the viewer identifies that they just got a launch key for Christmas, they just got a launch key on Black Friday, they come home, they sit down, and they go to YouTube, and boom, they fall into the rabbit hole of his content as well, because it'll cross promote as well as your own videos, and people just navigate their way through, and you're chilling with your family on vacation, but you're getting views while you snooze. I get a little fired up. Hey, Ed, has that been helpful?
Oh my gosh, that was so crazy helpful. I love it. I love it. And Tony's in the back here firing great ideas at me. I'm just like watching these. It's amazing. So this is great.
I also like what you've tested previously, Ed, here, in that you've tried to do, I guess this would be called celebrity jacking, where you're trying to make beats based on Kanye. I'm wondering if you could maybe now transfer that to Ableton, like how to make beats like blank using Ableton. That might be something to explore as well.
No, that's a great idea. Yeah, that actually got a lot of traction. So I found an AI chatbot that could emulate Kanye West's voice, and it was really funny to me. But I thought, oh, what a fun intro video for my channel. I can guest Kanye robot. So to do that with Ableton, that would be really awesome somehow. I got to think about that a bit.
That's awesome, Ed. Well, hey, I want to get to a couple other people. Really appreciate you, and thanks so much for coming on today.
Hey, my pleasure. This has been awesome. Very cool. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, Ed.
Coffee with Cannell crew. Take a sip of water. Get ready. We're going to bring somebody else on. We're diving into their channels, keyword research wise. But smash like if you begin value, and let me know what your aha moment was from this training so far, or specifically, what video following along with these tips do you need to make next? Not what next 5 videos. Your mind might be buzzing. What's the one video you should make next that's the most strategic, that's maybe the easiest for you to create because it would just flow from your knowledge currently? Let us know in the comments. And coming up next, we've got James joining us. James, I think we've dropped your channel in the private chat, but I want to make sure Rob has a second to get to your channel. James, how's it going? Where are you joining us from? And tell us a little bit about your channel.
Yeah, I'm first of all, can you hear me great?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm coming from Des Moines, Iowa, and my channel is 21st Century Educator. I am a 15-year educator, a vet, and I had done a little testing through a video game channel, but this was the one that I wanted to take seriously. And so, I put out that first video, Punch Fear in the Face, and, got it out there, and it's been up for 48 hours, got about 50 views on it. And already there's so much in education right now that you can jump into. And so I'm hoping to get a little strategy here.
I love it. And as Rob pulls up, he's got your channel pulled up. Tell us your keyword universe a little bit. Who are we talking to, and what kind of, videos and search terms are a starting point?
Yeah. So the first thing is just taking us through the mindset of the teacher going through their school year. And so starting off at this time, most teachers are probably working on, thinking about their classroom management. And so classroom management basics was, I thought, a logical place to start in thinking about things that way. I've already got the next video in mind of knowing that COVID and, we're now having kids coming back in full force. And so, thinking about what kind of teaching style is going to lend itself best to managing students some will be wearing masks, some won't be wearing masks, all the behavior concerns and making sure that you're teaching in such a way that gets the job done, but at the same time welcomes kids to, feel safe and comfortable in the environment.
Brilliant. Rob.
Hi, James. So I think the first question I would ask, and it's kind of been driven by the YouTube search predictions here, is do you have a certain target audience in terms of the age of the students? Are we talking school, preschool, college?
Well, currently I'm middle school myself, and so we're looking at that middle school to high school age. But my thought is that any beginning or even veteran teacher could get some use out of things because, you can always brush up on some things. But I would say the major target audience would be beginning teachers.
Yeah, and I think also, given the time of year, I'm not sure when is it back to school usually in the US? It's for Canada. It's Labor Day, the day after.
Yeah, towards the last, we're starting back on August 25th, and so I wanted to kind of put this out a little bit ahead of that, and as people are starting to think about it, teachers, like to savor as much of that summer as possible, so we didn't want to put something out too soon.
So like first day classroom management, maybe first day of school classroom management. That feels like a very long tail keyword there. I'm wondering what we could possibly find here.
One I saw, James, there was a first day classroom activities that popped up. Would that be the right type of video talking to your target audience? Is it teachers that would want to get information like that, or no?
Yeah, I believe so. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to go about either classroom management or activities, first 5 days, first 3 days, teaching styles, and lots of different ways to go there.
So first day classroom activities is interesting, and classroom activities. I wonder if you go, middle school, and so this is interesting. Rob, what's your take on going broad but not attracting maybe your very specific ideal audience, but maybe getting more views, or really trying to niche down? Because, for instance, even here, elementary, middle school, high school, it's a pretty broad, and here she's not even specifying. What are your thoughts on tackling something like just classroom activities in general?
Yeah, I think because, James, you are very early on in your YouTube journey, I think you have the luxury of experimenting, because although you may think your target audience is middle school, as you push out maybe 20, 25 videos, you realize that it might be going in a slightly different direction, and teachers of certain pupil age might be gravitating more towards your content. I think ultimately the data that you get from your content is going to maybe help direct you in the right direction. And I also think, because as you said, for a lot of students, pupils, this may be the first time they're going back to school after the pandemic lockdown. That's going to have some recency in terms of keywords that you would use. You've just got to be careful of how YouTube is treating such content in terms of making sure that the information is correct and you're guiding your viewers along the right path, which I'm sure you will be. But COVID-19 and YouTube starts to not raise concerns, but you just have to be careful with the type of content that you're creating.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I've been paying very close attention. One of the things I wanted to consider was, the fact that, COVID is a thing, and, how you might want to navigate through those things, and definitely doing the research on that.
Yeah. And James, here's kind of my line of thinking of, generating some ideas. So we kind of had this classroom activities, middle school. I jump over here to vidIQ, hit the keyword inspector up, and this then I like to see the search volume on YouTube here. And then we dug down to what you already are doing, which would be like classroom management strategies. And it's good to see that there's, 8,259 people searching a month, low search, competition. So good to go deep on that. It reminds me of one strategy that our friend Jeremy Vest talks about, calling it nested keywords. And so I sometimes think about when you find one keyword like classroom management strategies, that becomes, you eventually would want to have 50, 100 videos with that in the title. And maybe the nested keyword means that's at the end. And there's something like how to your first day of school with COVID restrictions, parentheses, or at the end, classroom management strategies. And it's about like really going deep and dominating the niche. For me, it might be like 7 tips for shooting better 50s, better photos, Canon M50 camera. And it's like the first promise with the one thing you really want to go super deep on. And that's kind of called like nested keywords. But then we'll definitely be covering this in a future episode. What I love is that vidIQ gives us these trending videos right by the side of our keyword research. And I spend almost most of my time here. So I just start with kind of a basic, this is why you want to understand your universe for everybody watching. Then it's like, okay, classroom setup, a lot of classroom setup, final classroom setup, success leaves clues. It's like we started with classroom activities, and like all of the views per hour velocity type videos are about classroom setup. Now, you don't necessarily want that to steer you towards content you wouldn't normally create, classroom tour. But that certainly gives some insights there. And then this is one of my favorite things. I like to come over with understanding your keyword just to Google, do classroom management strategies. And I'm curious about what are the top ranked blog posts, 8 proactive classroom management tips for new teachers. And I'm like, great, there's my next video. I got 5 proactive classroom tips, like even a little bit of a title insight, realizing that Google owns YouTube. And so you might be able to create a valuable video that answers something that's already kind of ranking in text format or blog format. YouTube loves that video content. And I know this stuff takes work, but crafting that content, clarifying your big idea, we're all about keyword research here. We kind of went through our thinking of having the intuition mixed with following the keyword down like a rabbit hole and following breadcrumbs, crafting our idea, then creating a training like that's reinforced by the words you're saying in the video, the closed captioning, even chapters along the 8 tips. And there's the ability to rank on the first page of Google, which is probably, I would think it actually is probably a bigger, teachers are probably starting there. And we got 2 million views on Think Media in 2020 from Google search traffic external. And we really don't have a website. It was from just clips of videos and moments of videos and whole videos ranking on Google itself. But that happens because of the process we're really describing here, by reverse engineering the big idea, crafting the content well, thinking about what is the language the end user uses, which another way to say that is what is the keywords, what are the words the end user uses. Has this been helpful, James, at all, getting any insights and some fresh inspiration for your channel?
Yeah, actually it has. And I'm in a unique position because I'm actually a part of the administrative team. So it gives me a little more leeway to maybe get into some classrooms and get some thoughts from some teachers as well. So yeah, appreciate it very much.
Awesome, James. Well, appreciate you. And thank you so much for jumping on.
All right.
Have a good day, James.
Appreciate you.
Rob, I think we're going to try to get to 1 or 2 more for sure. We have Randall up next.
Sure.
But hit like if you've been getting value. This has been a fun training. Let me know if you want to have Rob back on Coffee with Cannell. It's predestined because I got too many questions for him in terms of some of the other tools I want to dig into. And man, there's just so many different approaches to YouTube. I want to encourage you, meaning approaches to how you craft your videos. There's following the trends. There's learning from your competitors. There's the keyword research, topic research. And so if you haven't subscribed here on our Think Media podcast channel yet, definitely do that. This is our Coffee with Cannell show. Today, I'm drinking a live seltzer cucumber focus drink. So I violated the promise of the entire show. But let me know what you're drinking. Drop it in the comments down below. And today we're talking all about keyword research. If you happen just to be joining, please shout me out where you're watching from. And today's episode is brought to you by vidIQ, a partner, sponsor, but also someone who we've loved far before we've ever worked with professionally, because they're the absolute best in class YouTube software for topic research, keyword research, following trends. We're going to talk about the channel audit tool in the future. We're going to talk about new tools of some innovative team of developers have been working on to give you an edge when it comes to YouTube. So hit up vidIQ.com/think to get a 30-day free trial of their boost plan, which is where you get some of these more advanced tools that we're looking at as we open up some of the people's channels that are joining us. Well, hey, we got Randall. Randall, where are you watching from? And Arting with Randall is the channel. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
Yeah, I'm in Alberta, Canada. I'm in a tiny little hamlet named Rosebud, and my channel is called Arting with Randall. And the focus, it's a new channel, so it's kind of broad at this point. Still trying to figure things out. But basically, I'm trying to encourage, inspire, give demos and instruction to anybody that is has aspirations to make visual art and maybe has some blockages concerning that.
So Randall, it is art education.
Art education and inspiration.
I guess you're spoilt for choice when it comes to YouTube backgrounds, because that looks pretty awesome.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, and I'm outnumbered now. Rob, where are you streaming from?
Vancouver, BC.
Oh,
I'm also in Canada as well.
And I'm coming to you from Seattle, Washington. But I'm fired up. The channel's looking great. And yeah, the art behind you is looking absolutely beautiful. So what are some of the videos you're thinking about making next? Or do you have an idea of what your keyword universe is?
Well, I just did a search. I think it was on Ask the Public. And one of the questions that came up a lot was, can I learn to draw by tracing? And I need to do a video on that. And the answer would be, not really, but I've got a way that'll work that's similar. It's almost tracing, and you will actually develop skill. So that's the one I would want to do. But I just put up one. I put up one just now, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and I just didn't think I'd ever do this. That's that fast painting secrets. And it's a static shot recording of me painting for 55 minutes live at a concert. And then I went back and I went, I won't post this, but I threw in a commentary and I just talked for 55 minutes. And I got to admit, I've got a bit of a group in Facebook that I sent over here, but I didn't expect that I'd get this many views this quickly, or any at all. And my view times are also up.
No, that's awesome. And I think this also speaks to some stuff. I mean, clearly you're incredible at what you do. I can see, you're involved in your community here and whatnot. And that speaks to some of those, the important aspect of YouTube of community building. And as you build one subscriber at a time, and as they make a bond with you and those relationships that form. So I love that. I also want to mention, it just stuck out to me since Lewis Howes is a friend. And this definitely is that kind of trend surfing, influence surfing idea, but it's cool to see that you did a sketch of unknown person, and where did it get 800 likes?
Well, and that was in a private Facebook group.
Okay.
I was attending a workshop where he spoke, and he thought somebody had done a sketch of him and put it up, and they hadn't. They just threw up something they already had. And so while he was talking for the 20 minutes, I sketched him. And then I went, oh, that's done. It's not going to do anything. I posted it in the private Facebook group for that event, and it blew up in that group. But I mean,
and I know we're talking about keyword research, but that's the kind of thing. I mean, I would continue to do that, because I would also do that with your Facebook profile, hopefully optimized to a degree. Maybe you change your cover image that mentions you have a YouTube channel, and make sure that your YouTube channel is easy to find. The key there, right, friends, is that it's not about going into like Facebook groups and spamming your channel. It's about going into Facebook groups, in this case, adding something to the conversation. You're part of an entrepreneurial event, a learning event. you've got this drawing skill, you drop that. People are like, oh, that's so cool. It gets 800 likes. Some click on your profile and like, oh man, I'm kind of, vibing with this guy. Like this stuff is cool. Let me Randall's got a YouTube channel. And that's how a few bonds can happen one at a time. And so that's kind of a cool thing to discover right there. But Rob, any thoughts as you're pulling up the channel?
Yeah, so Randall, I've just been looking at the channel in the background, and what I'm finding curious is that today I don't feel as if you've really been targeting keyword phrases. It's more been actually building a community. Some of your titles are "What's next?" You decide, and usually when we're talking to channels, we would say, "Well, hang on, who is searching for that? How is the content going to be discovered?" But there's some very encouraging numbers here. You have over 100 subscribers already. Congratulations on that first milestone.
Thank you.
But some of these community videos that I would class them as are getting a decent number of views, which is encouraging. But I don't feel as if you've really utilized any search-driven content to a great degree yet. I think the one thing I'm questioning as a complete newbie to your channel is the content done through technology, like an iPad, a tablet, or is it through hand art? Because I think that might be something to establish if possible.
Yeah, I'm doing a bit of both. So should I specialize in one or the other?
I think it's too early to do that yet. I think maybe in the future you'll start to discover whether or not your audience is gravitating more towards one or the other. You're in the experimental phase, so you can do, I would say after 25, 50 videos, you should have enough data on whether or not people are watching a certain type of content.
Right. Another one I think I'm going to do very quickly is digital or real. Which way should you go, and do a comparison, and here's the pros and cons of each.
Now that as a title idea is a fantastic one. The versus video. I mean, there's three types of search intent videos I recommend. It's the simple how-to, the listicle, and the versus. Because when you do versus videos, you're combining two keywords, and you're also creating, I guess, an opinion one way or the other. And even if maybe there's a disagreement in the video, it generates a good conversation within a community that you're starting to grow.
All right, that just confirms that that's got to be probably the next one, or one of the next ones I create.
Awesome. Randall, has this been helpful?
Oh, very much. Yeah, just listening in on the whole thing, and getting some very specific responses, because I feel like my channel's a little weird compared to what everyone else is talking about, and it is community driven, and so it's nice to have some very specific stuff to the channel.
I want to encourage you and everybody else. I mean, I think that the community driven side is a very powerful thing that you'll want to lean into, but B, sometimes don't overthink it. Sometimes think about just the practical and simple things that you can do. I saw you've done some acrylic painting, so I simply looked at acrylic painting using the keyword inspector tool. A different approaches you can take is the idea of going by very low competition and then scrolling up to maybe the highest keywords search volume with the lowest competition. So you start looking at maybe, let's see, how to paint a thunderstorm. I mean, it's interesting, like that. If you could paint a thunderstorm, like these are, yeah. So that's kind of cool. How to paint pond water, answer specific questions, and use these powerful tools to look for how to paint feathers. This is interesting because some of those on some specific, and so that. What I did was I put the competition to the lowest. Started with acrylic painting as a jump off point. And again, what we're looking for, friends, right, is that the synergy of course, maybe an idea comes to us from our research that we don't even want to create. So we go figure out how to create it. But the goal is it's at the intersection of, wait a minute, Randall just said it. Oh, I could do a thunderstorm. Like I never would have thought of it. So it's like at the intersection of you've got your passion, your proficiency, and your skills. And then you go into that, is there kind of a market for it? What's the search volume for it? And it's at the intersection of those things. Like, I could do a thunderstorm. The data backs it up. This is going to be a good use of my time. And some of those practical search-based ones also, they might not have as much crazy potential, but those are the type of videos for big views at the start. Those are the type of videos that go crazy 3 years later, 5 years later, 8 years later. And if you catch that kind of vision for your YouTube channel, I know it takes persistence, commitment, consistency. But if you think, man, I really want to be making a full-time living in the, as a creator, as a content entrepreneur, years later, you've built these assets that are bringing in AdSense, that are bringing in awareness, that are bringing in subscribers. And that happens from just making one smart video at a time. Randall, been getting value? My man. Cheers. Coffee with Cannell. I think we've all lost your audio, but thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, there. I was sorry. I was muted. Absolutely fantastic. I'm drinking club soda with a shot of green tea.
Hey, come on. Cheers. No one's drinking coffee today on Coffee with Cannell, but thank you so much for coming on, Randall. Really appreciate you. And shout out to Canada, Rob and Randall, crushing it, holding it down. Okay, we are going to do a couple more. Rob, you good? Like people, you ask somebody that in the front of everybody. No, I'm not. I got to jump. But you have time for one more?
I'm good for some more. Yep.
Okay, cool. Maybe we'll do a couple rapid fire ones. We've got Adrian, the capable wife. How's it going?
Hey guys, it's going well. I'm here in Mississippi, Summit, Mississippi. How y'all doing?
Summit, Mississippi. We're doing good. And fired up. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
Well, my channel is called Capable Wife, and I do perennial gardening, tropical gardening, as well as kitchen gardening. And I want to get into home decorating too. Just everything that a capable wife is always doing.
Awesome. Well, Rob, I'm curious your hot take on that value proposition, as that was kind of stated before we get into maybe some keyword research.
I love the channel name. I think that's a very memorable one. So that's a very good start.
It ranks very well on Google.
Yeah, very much so. I guess one word of caution is that it sounds like you're trying to cover a lot of things on a lot of different topics to begin with. But, as we say, when creators are first starting out, you have a license to have fun and enjoy the journey. I think at some point it may become apparent that your audience is gravitating maybe towards a particular type of gardening, or when you're in the kitchen, because I think those are two quite separate topics, certainly in terms of a keyword universe. But I don't think you need to make that decision just yet. I see you experimenting with YouTube Shorts as well. That's certainly a new area, and you're getting some nice views there from some of the YouTube Shorts, which is brilliant to see.
Yeah, and one of my first observations was, you started off strong with the gardening content. I liked that value proposition that you mentioned, but then I saw like one of the most recent videos. Is it accurate that it's actually maybe your husband talking about an edger?
Yes, you see, I got to get him involved. See, we're a team, and I want him involved, even if I have to transfer him over to a different channel.
Okay.
But what I like is that he is getting into it as well. And so any tips you can give me is well worth it. Thank you.
I'm curious, Sean, what's your attitude to including DIY in the title? Because we've had this conversation sometimes on our channel audits that in the world, in the universe of YouTube, DIY can mean anything to anyone. And maybe it's more sensible to be just straight down the middle, down the line with your title. Instead of DIY how to prune a canna lily, it should be how to prune a canna lily in less than 5 minutes. I'm wondering if that may be a more exciting style of approach for some of the titles here, because I think earlier on, the titles were very, very simple. They were almost like file names, some of these, but now you're starting to add a bit more intrigue to win the click. I'm looking at these ones here where I think it's just describing the plants but nothing else. We can make them maybe a little bit more exciting, both in terms of keyword research and making it more intriguing and exciting to win the click from the viewer.
Yeah, I think that is definitely, I would agree 100%. The big idea that I think you could take away here is a couple things. Practically, I think the titles should be longer. I went to most popular videos, and not longer for long's sake. Longer because they should be based around long tail keyword ideas. Secondly, they should be viewer based in terms of adding value to the viewer or solving a problem for the viewer. So even though it actually happens to be, getting views via shorts, and maybe because it's entertaining, because it's exactly what it is, frogs in the garden. Mm-hmm. Frogs in the garden to me is just a statement, right? And if I think about, let me ask you this, is your goal to actually help potential other wives learn how to develop a set of skills that wives would want to learn? Is that accurate or is that inaccurate?
Yeah, you are. You dead on with that. My goal is to help beginner gardeners and new homeowners, as well as new wives,
Yes. So in that case, then I would want to avoid, if you will, even titles that are like my little pick-me-up. First of all, that starts with you in a way, not the viewer. And I understand your heart is to show the viewer, bring inspiration to the viewer. But there's just such even harvest from a small garden. It's like, okay, well, if I want to see your harvest. So the two big ideas are, rather than front garden refresh, it's almost like maybe starting to play with how to refresh your garden. Now that's the viewer in mind. 3 tips for refreshing your garden. And so if we go garden refresh, and then I think we have to, the point of the topic research is you're posting all these videos, and I want to commend you for your consistency and the momentum you've already built. But I think the point is that it's at the research stage, but that's why we say research before you press record, where we actually want to reverse engineer the videos we should be making. And so let me see I'm going to go improve my garden soil. So this isn't even my niche, right? And Rob, if you put him over your garden, like, it's going to go bad quick. Like, he doesn't have this skill set. So, but you might not have thought about, how to improve garden soil before planting. This is the power of keyword research. Could you make that video? Could you teach me about garden soil at all?
Definitely, I can do that. Yeah. All I need is a soil kit. It's simple. Absolutely.
So there you go. So see, that's we've discovered it's something, but what we're doing is we're learning. It's also an intersection of what and could teach about with what the audience might care about. So now we're inside of the vidIQ keyword inspector. Well, how do I improve garden soil? And this right here, this search volume, there's the idea of like, oh, I only want to do big ideas, or the search volume's too low. To me, I don't worry about it too much. Here's what I'm doing in keyword research. I'm just trying to verify and see if my video idea is legitimate and solid. Because our goal, right, is to make a lot of videos. And sometimes we can overestimate what it will be or what it will turn into. But in tips on improving garden soil, to me, if I'm you and you just told me you could share those pretty easily, it's just a no-brainer video. I'd lean into that and I'd start building around this. Clay soil is interesting. So how to amend clay soil is something that, and we're just diving right in and pulling videos that would be worth making, right? Like, that are going to be, in my opinion, worth your time to create. And I play around with the order up here, most used or search volume. Now I'm going to the highest search volumes. and looking around at things like how to fix clay soil, a lot of stuff about soil. And then things, although this does say vegetable gardening, to me, that's still too broad. So you want to avoid, that's why I say longer titles. Vegetable gardening for beginners. Maybe you said you want to help new homeowners. Vegetable gardening for beginners at home. Now, even if we threw out some of the stuff that Rob said earlier, like even if you don't study the competition, even if you don't think about what anybody else is doing, even if all you do is just the keyword research we just did, I would rather see a video titled Vegetable Gardening for Beginners at Home than Front Garden Refresh. Now, I understand that's a short, so that's just a little quickie, but even like less hardscape, more softscape, like that's a statement to me. How do I, and I'd want to see videos that are really built out, Vegetable Gardening at Home for Beginners, 5 tips. Like there's a title idea. That's a real content, a rich video that I know there's going to be some value there, that's organized and structured, and that I think will sort of be helpful. Shorts is maybe a little bit different at times, but the more concrete our video idea is based on our research, understanding our end viewer and knowing exactly what kind of value we want to add to them, I think the better results you'll get as it comes to growing your channel. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Sean. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it.
I was also noticing as well that you are a content machine. I mean, making content is not a problem. So to piggyback onto what Sean was saying, think about when you're creating one piece of content, how can you leave the audience wanting more from you? So it's not necessarily that you're creating a part 2 or a part 3 or a part 4, but there's a natural evolution from taking a viewer from a complete beginner to giving them enough information to get them started on their project as you're teaching them, and then almost thinking about where you're going to guide them next for the next video. I know, Sean, you do this so expertly in your content where you may be talking about keyword research, but the next natural thing is after keyword research, you want to be researching your competition, and you do that by watching this video over here. I think there's, as you were saying, creating that almost like an ecosystem within YouTube where the content that's being recommended to the viewer is your own content. So you got that feedback loop building up more and more views and watch time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was looking at one how to, planting Incredibles, proven winner Incredibles, and it came up and it ranked high and it was low competition, but vidIQ, Rob, of course, you know this, it said that a smaller channel should go for the medium, go with the medium rank or title with low competition. Can you explain that just a little more for me?
So I think we all have to appreciate our place on YouTube in the sense that you as a channel with a bit of you already have a bit of momentum. You're not a complete beginner. You know, when you publish a video, especially YouTube Shorts, you're at a point now where you're getting 100 views, 200 views. So you're already 4 or 5 steps ahead of that complete beginner when it comes to maybe gardening content. But you also have to appreciate that there are people on the YouTube journey who have been making content for 5 years, 10 years. They have thousands of videos. So you can choose to either research that content and see how you can add something new to that conversation or that tip or that strategy, or identify content that's ranking highly but is now maybe a little bit out of date in the gardening world. I saw one of the titles which was really interesting, like how and when to water and fertilize your garden during a heat wave, which I think is really prevalent, certainly in the last couple of years, and I feel as if there's more to be leveraged there. So yes, the search volume may be lower, but you're not trying to get that viral hit. You're not trying to get 50,000 views with your next video. Your aim is to get 100 views, then 150 views, and then 200 views, and slowly build up that momentum with a loyal audience that's going to come back to watch your content. Because I feel as if not only are you educating people, but people are starting to fall in love with you as a creator as well. And when you have that as a superpower, then you can start to take your audience on all sorts of weird and wonderful journeys, whether it be more gardening, or I've seen some videos where you talk about clean with me, or, you know, ultimately when they get to know your husband, you know, you don't have to shove him off onto another channel. You can start to go on maybe vacations together, and because you have a loyal fan base, they're going to follow you wherever you go, over a period of time, of course.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Adrian, appreciate you so much. Thanks so much for coming on Coffee with Cannell today.
Have a good day.
All right. We've got one more, Rob. We're going to do a quick one, and you're going to love it. We got Jason from Essential Origami coming up here in just a second. But my friends, if this is your first time on the Coffee with Cannell show, drop that in the comments down below. Is this your first time? If you've been on the Coffee with Cannell show before, let me know. My name is Sean Cannell. I'm super fired up to be here with Rob from vidIQ. Hit like if you've been getting value, and definitely catch the replay where we talk all about keyword research and how you can leverage that to get more views on your channel. Well, hey, I'm super pumped. Hey, Half Coach, thank you so much for the super chat. Super grateful for that. And we're going to welcome Jason from Essential Origami. Super cool channel. I think Rob's pulling it up already. Jason, tell us a little bit about your channel and about where you're streaming from.
For me, it's morning. So good morning, Sean and Rob. It's very exciting to talk to you guys. I've been, my YouTube channel is about 7 months old, so still pretty new. I'm streaming from Melbourne in Australia. So just breakfast time for me over here. My main question is really, am I on the right track? I started the channel about a year ago, and then joined the VRA and realized that channel was more about entertainment, which is very hard to break into. So I've pivoted. I've very much niched down into an idea called book folding, which is a craft form where you take books, you cut and fold the pages, and it makes wonderful images on the front if you spend enough time to do that. So I've been looking at any book folding channel I can find is pretty much dead. It's not being uploaded to. So I think that has a lot of potential. If I can be if I can consistently upload book folding content, then I think I've got a great chance of breaking in as one of the main channels in this area after some consistent time, of course. But my main idea is just, am I on the right track? I've been trying a whole bunch of different video ideas. I've put up one recently where it's just the entire book folding process, real time, which goes for about 3.5 hours, which is, I don't expect that to be high in search, but I'm also making templates that allow people to make book art the way that I do. And I've been trying to sell those on Etsy. So the idea is, if they buy my Etsy template, then here's the entire thing real time. You can just zoom to the part you're having trouble with. That's where I'm trying to get to. So I've been doing a bit of that. I realized from a comment that people thought what I was doing was very relaxing. So I've uploaded one that was ASMR. And I don't know a thing about ASMR, but I just thought if it's relaxing, let's try that. I've done some shorts as small as 19 seconds where it's just a rapid fire me flicking through the book. Can you guess what this picture is before I get to the end? So I'm trying lots and lots of different video ideas just to see what works. And I've got goals in the future to make entire courses where I go from start to finish. Here's every single possible little thing you need to know about book art. So I think I've got lots of ideas. That there's plenty of places I can take the content. Just am I on the right track? What do you guys think?
Are you I'll go with my initial thought. I think the name of the channel is amazing. And I just did the macro keyword research of origami. And it's 2 million just for that one word using the vidIQ keyword research tool, which doesn't surprise me. To speak to you, Jason, but also to our greater community, sometimes I think what's a good thing that we should do market research. And that was in my 60 seconds of market research. It's saying, is the bigger pool I'm playing in big enough to support? Is there volume there? Is there interest there? And of course, origami is massive. And immediately I saw on YouTube that it's also massive. As far as the book folding thing, I think you found a niche within a niche. We call it double niching or triple or quadruple niching. And sometimes the way that channels can really grow is, for example, beauty, hair, makeup, nails, very competitive. Is it big? It's massive. Is it big enough to support a lot of people? Probably unlimited. But if you start off covering everything, it might be hard to get traction. And some creators we've coached, they started off by having their first 100 videos, 200 videos be just nail art. And sometimes it might be bad to pivot away from that. But if you understood the viewer, maybe it's like eventually they start going nail art. Then they also do some face makeup, etc. Punchline being, are you open? Because my gut says, I think you should go deep into the book folding niche, but I wonder if you stay there, if it actually never quite gets big enough. I think that's the thing, super smart. But if you also start there 50 videos, 100 videos, but you're willing to actually honor the name Essential Origami and play in anything origami related to your skills and passions as well, that your future could be incredibly bright. It's a good start, and it also could scale into a niche that's big enough to support doing this full-time, all of the above. Would that be a journey you'd be comfortable with, or is there, what do you think?
Yes, definitely. My first couple of videos were just about origami tutorials, but I decided that was too broad, so I thought I'd focus a bit more. But yeah, definitely I can do some origami related things. So I've got one video where I make a teeny tiny flower. It's about this big. So so I'm definitely open to origami related things as well.
Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I've just been doing a couple of searches in the background, specifically on book folding. And what it seems to suggest here is that you, Jason, you are already ranking for this term, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, because it means that, all right, you're ranking for this search term, but you're ranking with views of 100 or less. So ultimately the question is there anybody searching for this term right now? And I guess that might require a bit more research. I think also something else to really consider here, you know, we haven't talked about it much during this podcast, but with the space that you're in, you are judged very much on the quality of your thumbnails. Because when I did it just a broad search for book folding, you can see like the wonderful the art here and how clear the images are, and I think certainly with crafts and very visual things, the thumbnail is even more important to win that click. So going back to your channel, you may have to make a tough decision as to whether you can include yourself in the thumbnail. I mean, a lot of these are shorts. I appreciate that, but. For example, I'm just looking at these Olympic book folding videos, which I think is a fantastic idea. You know, you were jumping on a trend, but could I see the book in a little more detail and closer up? And do we need the explosion in the background? I know it's an attempt at being eye-catching, but I'm just not sure whether that's going to work long term. But again, we're in the experimental stage, and I think you're trying lots of new, unique ideas. You know, you've already done these Olympic videos. You've done a versus one as well, so you're testing out these new strategies. So I think you're experimenting in the right ways, but you maybe just haven't quite found that little pocket of interest within your topic just yet.
Yeah, and I would say, again, that was my total hunch, was that book folding might not just sustain the size of views and impact you want to make. I think it's cool because, like, you know, Rob mentioned, you already dominate it. So no problem dominating, no problem potentially being maybe, you know, one thing I think we need to note, friends, is what is crazy about YouTube is you're like one Netflix special away from your niche just absolutely blowing up. So of course, chess, like origami, is a standard, is a incredibly huge thing. It's nothing new. But then the Queen's Gambit comes out on Netflix, and all of a sudden, boom, chess channels are blowing up. People are buying. Every kid wants to, you know, every little girl wants to all of a sudden, like, all of a sudden, all this fire comes behind something that you're already positioned for. And so again, somebody releases the like high road dream of sushi documentary on Netflix, and one of the episodes of like a 6-part special is about book folding. Now, you know, your channel all of a sudden just catches fire for the 10, 20, 30 tutorials you've made in the past. But it related to, I think, where there could be some growth and the promise of this video and this Coffee with Cannell. If we dive into origami, vidIQ keyword inspector, I organize things by very low in terms of the competition. I'm making origami fox mask. I'm making origami fox cute and easy mask. You know, a lot of people want foxes at the bottom here. There's a beginner tutorial desire for origami fox. Now, maybe you don't want to make a fox. And then, of course, take that keyword over to YouTube and see maybe what's the intent is and if you're even passionate about that. But I'm thinking paper snake. And again, I see origami with 2 million monthly searches is a mega niche. So by maybe kind of almost creating consistent videos, well-made, that deliver on a promise, to me, it seems that on the other side of, again, a lot of hard work, a lot of plowing the field, if you will, but getting out 50, 100, you know, Think Media just crossed 1,000 uploads. And that's a crazy journey. And I think I was maybe sort of single-handedly responsible for the first 500, but of course, massive credit. Now we're a team of creators. And so Omar and Nolan and Tony and Steph and Kyle and Heather, like it's a team that's really helping us pick up speed. But the punchline being, you can't even imagine, you probably can't imagine the kind of evergreen traffic. And one of the things we just discovered, which is super shocking, in fact, I really want to share this to just prove a point and encourage you, Jason, encourage those that are a part of our Think Media community and those that are part of our Video Ranking Academy students that are watching. I want to show you a unique thing that we did in terms of just kind of analyzing the performance of our channel. One of the things we were curious about was just what were our best hits over the last year, the last 365 days. So that was the first thing we did. What can we learn from these top 10 videos? But then we went in to see more. And we thought, okay, what can we learn from beyond the top 10 out of these videos? But then we went into just a unique way of adding in some distinctions, and we went to click-through rate. What are the videos with the top click-through rate? And this just happened to be the path where we discovered videos like this video from 2015. So I made a video on the Canon 6D, a behind-the-scenes video. And that's a 6D, not Mark II, like the original 6D, right? And that video is getting 11% click-through rate, still got 13,000 views. I made it 6 years ago. But then what got really interesting, and this is the one that is going to make you spit out your soda water and talk about what we preach essentially with Video Ranking Academy, is this video right here. The Optica fisheye for the Canon Vixia. This video came out October 5th, 2010.
Wow.
In the last year, it got 6,105 views. My friends, if you want to talk about the dream of YouTube as a search engine, of ranking videos on YouTube, and I understand, like, and here's actually the thing. In the lifetime of this video, it's earned $158. It's grown the channel by 123 subscribers. But in the last year, this video earned $25, grew Think Media by 6 subscribers. This video came out 11 years ago, right? And like, I think what's even more encouraging is we should watch it. There is no worse video on YouTube than this video. I am the guy who teaches lighting. This is the worst opening shot in YouTube's history with the backlit. I'm leaning back. I don't know what's happening here. I'm filming on, I don't know what I'm filming on, with no crispy, shaky, pointing at things. Like this video is horrendous. But what can we learn from it? We can learn that it's search based. It's about a specific product, RSP, review specific products. It's about a specific fisheye lens for a specific camcorder. And some might say, oh, well, only 6,000 views. Well, 6,000 views 11 years later. And so what happens when you make 10 of those videos? If that's the only results you got, teaching how to make beginner origami fox with blue paper, like whatever. But you do that 100 times, you do that 200 times, and Think Media just crossed 1,000 uploads. And honestly, Think Media in the early days, the first 5 years was real sporadic in terms of uploading. There's something about actually being consistent. There's something about, I had to learn a lot of the stuff that we now are helping people go faster with. I mean, I wandered in the desert, for a while, but all that to say is I think that reveals the power of kind of those very specific, maybe lower competition, specific pain points that people have in regards to origami. And yes, I'm sure there's competition out there. There's competition related to Optica fisheye and Canon Vixia cameras. But that video is also proof, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, it's no good hook, not good lighting, not good anything. I will admit that sometimes people ask, do you ever update your thumbnails? This wasn't the original thumbnail. I have gone back and have done clearer, better thumbnails, because the original one was nowhere near as good as that. And I probably did that in 2013, 3 years after it came out. But to kind of turn that back to you, Jason, I think looking at some of the practical origami, that's the bigger space I'd be playing in. Yeah. And then I think it can map to the mindset of maybe some people who love origami didn't know about the book stuff. I think both are cool, but I think origami is where the opportunities are.
Okay. So would you recommend I integrate our origami with a bit of book art stuff as well, or just move more towards the origami field?
I would lean heavier towards origami. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's, especially at the stage you're at, it's not offending your audience to do the book stuff, but I would do the book art 10 or 20% of content, and I'd be like 80% content on origami. And saying that, I want to recommend for everybody, it's double niching is always good. The niche within a niche. Give you an example. Think Media were like best camera for YouTube. Back when I started doing that, live streaming wasn't even really a thing, or it was very difficult and very expensive and less common. Live streaming is a niche within a niche, if you will. Because we know, you know what I mean? So within origami, I don't know what else there is, but within origami, maybe there's certain trends or certain things. Well, the nice thing is I love the clarity of origami, and your channel name I love it. Like, Essential Origami is amazing. So if it fits underneath that, then absolutely do it. But we've already seen you rank, and it kind of dominates some of the search terms related to, what seems to be a much smaller niche. Cool, move on to the next one. And that might be doing some stuff related to foxes, as we discovered, and definitely leaning into the tools, because that's why we teach, right, in Video Reg Academy, research before you press record. So that way your very limited time and energy can be invested in the most strategic video topics possible.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much, Sean.
You're welcome, Jason. I appreciate you so much. And thanks for coming on.
And thank you, Rob,
Jason.
As well. Thank you.
Rob, I want to thank you for being a part of Coffee with Cannell before my last word and closing remarks. But thanks again, man. You delivered so much value today. So grateful for you. And I know that, let me know, everybody, if you're thankful for Rob, drop a comment in the live chat. But also, what's your takeaway? We're action takers here at Think Media. What's an aha moment? Do you have a video to make? Do you have a video to edit? A video to shoot, some keyword research to do? What do you need to do next? Let us know, and drop some love for Rob. And make sure, if you haven't subscribed to the vidIQ YouTube channel, Rob's over there dropping just absolute fire all the time. It makes me uncomfortable because he so quickly gets to the most strategic ideas in our niche. I'm like, oh, there he is talking about the YouTube Creator Shorts Fund or the short, whatever. And I'm like, oh, you beat me to the, but that's why I love him. And so I'm grateful. And I don't know where our names went, Rob. They disappeared. But Rob, I appreciate you. And any final thoughts?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Sean. It's always a pleasure, and I'm just inspired by the community you have here. And it may be worth just replaying the last hour, as myself and Sean, we encounter these channels as sometimes complete laymen. We have no idea what the channel's about. We're not very familiar with the topic, but look at our thought process as to how we were trying to understand the fundamentals of a channel, and then try to offer some suggestions based off of that, including the keyword research aspects of it.
100%. Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you. And so much love is being dropped in the comments for Rob. Thank you, Capable Wife, for coming on. And of course, the takeaway is you got to just press record. Yeah, at the end of the day, our goal is to get 1% better with every upload on YouTube. And, if you watch this from from the beginning and you're new to YouTube, the last 2 hours of content, it's a lot to take in. It takes time to internalize these concepts. So I want to encourage you, keep learning, but keep posting, keep getting 1% better with every upload. And you'll find that where you are tomorrow, the compound effect of getting a little bit better at thumbnails, titles, a little bit better at your keyword research, a little bit better on camera, or you're doing a faceless channel, a little bit better at editing, whatever it is, goes a long way over time. And I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel here if you haven't, Coffee with Cannell. We do this bi-weekly. So we got the Coffee with Cannell show, and then we also have the YouTube Made Simple show with Heather Torres. And our goal is to alternate those every other week. And so definitely, hopefully you can catch those. We pre-schedule them. And so you can catch those, turn on notifications to the channel here. And then I want to remind you, our event, Grow with Video Live, is just a few short days away. We have a 2-day event. It happens. It's our annual event, Grow with Video Live. And so I hope that you can join us for that. If you haven't got your tickets yet, definitely get your tickets at growwithvideolive.com. Until next time, keep crushing it, keep smashing it. And I can't wait to see you on the next Coffee with Cannell, or on the next Think Media podcast, or on the next upload on our main channel, the Think Media channel. And so until then, peace out. And remember, you got to just press record.
Did you know that being a content creator